I just burped.
Is it my turn or is it your turn?
It's your turn, girl.
All right. All right. Well, here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to 1,000 Ways to Have a Happy Marriage, Relationship, Partnership, whatever. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Chelsea.
Hi, guys.
And today, we have a couple. Their names are Charlotte and Mason. They'll be joining us. And they are a younger couple. We'll wait to spill the tea about all their info when their time comes. But how are you hanging in there this week, girl?
Hanging in there. We are getting ready to go to the beach and do some social distancing. Sorry, my husband keeps like going in and out. Social distancing with my brother-in-law and his future wife. So it's going to be interesting. It's our first like family beach trip.
It's going to be so fun. You know what's so funny is Jeremy and I just booked a place for our first, we're taking all the kids, all 4 of the pets for our first like family beach trip.
Where are you guys going?
We're just going to the North Carolina beach, same deal, social distancing. We're not going to be close to people, but like we just need a change of scenery, you know?
Yeah. You have to, because it just gets so like mundane and it just really gets down on your mental health that you have to kind of just be like, all right, we need to change and do something different. And I mean, I haven't left like my side of the island in like 3 months.
Yeah.
So like I have stayed probably in like a 5 to 10 mile radius of my house, which is kind of sad.
We all, like, where do you go? Nobody, I mean, I guess there are people who are still traveling, but, like, we're not traveling. Like, we're just staying home, and it sucks.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, where do we want to go? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're, like, Hawaii is still, like, super, like, shut down. Like, I mean, it's, like, shelter in place. Safer at home type order right now. But, like, the restaurants haven't opened up yet. They don't open up until, like, beginning of June. And, you know, they'll have all their social distancing. Like, salons aren't open up yet. Bars aren't opened. Like, they've extended the tourist quarantine till, I think they're going to, like, the end of July. So there's just not, like, besides, like, the beach and hiking, there's just not, like, you're just not going to go anywhere else.
I'm trying to, like, make my hair look decent with these headphones. All right, well, I think our guests are here.
Okay, well, I'm excited to meet them.
Yeah, we'll let them in. Let's see. Hopefully our tech works this week. The bane of my existence these days. How are you? Okay, so just for, like, Chelsea, for your information, so Charlotte and I went to zoo school together.
Oh, okay.
They are the ones, Chelsea, they're the ones who connected us with Freya.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Our little
You live in
princess.
Hawaii, don't you?
I do live in Hawaii, yeah.
Oh my God, we've been looking at potentially moving there. What island are you on?
We're on Oahu.
Oh my gosh, do you love it?
Yeah. I'm getting island fever, and I think, like, the quarantine hasn't helped that. I don't know, like, what island you guys are thinking about moving to.
We need to come. We're actually coming to visit in November. I don't know where though. My mom made the plans, so we're coming, and then we plan to like keep coming back. But we were gonna come sooner, but obviously Corona. So.
Yeah, they just extended to. I was just telling Joe, they just extended the travel restrictions to like end of July.
That's okay, as long as it's gone by November.
So yeah, it's just
That's
like,
right.
the state is just so dependent on tourism that, I mean, the unemployment rate is like through the roof here. I was just reading a news article that so many bars and businesses that have been around for, you know, years are getting ready to shut down permanently. So it's just like one of those things that, like, it's very different than the mainland.
Yep. No, I mean, here we're dealing with a lot of that here too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's great. If you love to be like in the hot all the time, then it's perfect. I'm like missing I started following like Instagram fall like accounts that is because I just want like 60-degree weather for like 2 days. That's all I want. And I just want to wear like my leggings and my boots and like a North Face. Like I am so tired of being like, oh, just throw in another sundress, shorts and a t-shirt. Like it's been 3 years. So
It sounds so rough, doesn't it, you guys?
I know.
It sounds so rough.
She's such a brat.
First world issues.
It's a very first world problem. It is 100%, and I'll be the first one to admit it. That is a
That's
world
right.
That's awesome. That is so awesome.
Well, you'll have to let me know when you guys come and what islands, because we'll be here until December.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she can show you around.
I'll let you guys know because I don't, like I said, I don't know where we're going. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Let me know. Be awesome.
Well, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, yeah. We've all been talking about each other. Whenever we have couples coming on, I always feel like I have to I have to introduce myself because we've never met. But I've been like texting with them or like messaging with them or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I know who you are. Like
Joe does all the work for this, and I just like show up. Like the definition of the group project.
Couldn't do it without you, though. It's that team dynamic. Listen, those few minutes, we had to do like a few minutes where I was by myself, and your presence was missed. And you guys, I'm so excited for you guys to be on here because I feel like you guys are like kind of living the dream. Well, at least some people's dream, but kind of living the dream right now. All right, so I know I sent you guys the outline of kind of how the episodes look. So first off, we're just going to kind of go around the room and see what you guys are sipping on. You don't have to be sipping on anything. Chelsea and I just like excuses to drink. So here we are.
I was drinking Starbucks, but it's gone.
Oh,
Hey, what did you get?
I miss it.
It is a hibiscus lemonade with passion tango. So
Ooh.
it's really good.
She's living the island life already.
Is there not Starbucks there? Like,
No. There is.
Oh.
It's just that I live on a military base. So the Starbucks that's open right now, because we have like different restrictions, it's only open till like noon. And it's from like 6 a.m. to noon, and that's like it. And then I have to like drive to go, and like I'm not that dedicated.
Yeah, our Starbucks is around the corner. So
Yeah, I'm not that dedicated. So
It makes it easy. What about you, Mason? What are you sipping on?
Man, I'm not really a Starbucks type of guy, but we went, so I grabbed some Fizzler caramel macchiato.
That's my drink.
Oh.
I like coffee, but like, I don't know, I keep it usually pretty basic. Like when I go to Starbucks, just to show you like how often I go there, like I don't even know, like when they're like, what size do you want? I'm like a large, and they're like, or a venti, I'm just like,
Sure. That size.
You're like, which
That
one
one over
gives
there.
me more caffeine? That's the one I want. Which one gives me more caffeine?
yeah, my buddy was like, he's like, you want a triple shot? And I was like, that sounds good. I was like, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Venti, you got it. He hooked
Joe,
you
what
up.
are you sipping on?
I'm just over here. I got some Trulies going down. We were supposed to have a barbecue with my family members, but then, so my cousin's wife works in the hospital with COVID patients. So whenever she's anywhere, we don't go because she's for sure got it, like, you know, at least as a carrier. So she ended up just having the day off of work. So the rest of us kind of like backed out. We're like, oh, no, you go hang out with like the fam and like we'll go see them another time. But I bought a case of Trulies to share with my cousin. And so now I just have a case of Trulies in my pantry. So I was like, well, I guess I'm drinking Trulies today.
Well,
I
that's
gotta
good.
finish them at some point.
Someone's got to drink them.
Yeah.
What about you,
rough
Chels?
life.
What you got?
I have some Sauvignon Blanc white wine.
Ooh.
Oh my god, we just went to Gatlinburg and we did like the wine tasting. They had like the Tennessee wineries or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Ooh.
I don't even drink wine, but my goodness, they were so delicious. We meant to come home with some, but then we got distracted and went mini golfing instead and forgot to buy the wine. So
That sounds like a great reason.
yeah, but it was super good. If you ever go to Gatlinburg, do that.
Mini golf and do the wine tasting. All right, so the first thing that we like to do is we like to have the couples kind of introduce themselves. And I feel like you guys have just such an interesting lifestyle that just, I feel like produces, or at least it looks like from the outside, produces so much happiness that I would love for you guys to share, like as much as you're willing to, about kind of how long you guys have been together, what your life is like, kind of what you do, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so we've been together for 4.5 years, since like that January of 2016. We both work from our phones, and so it allows us to travel and go whenever, wherever, forever, how long as we have access to Wi-Fi or cell phone service.
It's been like that for the past, I think, 3 years now. I mean, for a while there, we both used to work, day jobs, almost 7 days a week. But then I started a business in the pharmaceutical industry, and it worked out really well. And then she quit her job and went into what her self-employment.
I was doing the dogs. I've been doing the dog stuff for years, breeding the dogs. But then I tried to go back to work, and I hated it. I didn't like working normal jobs. I'm just not good at like working for somebody else. And so I was like, forget this. So I went back to working. We bought that house out in Dixon, and then I was doing the dog business again, but he was still working, and Joe's been to our house, like we live in the middle of nowhere.
We did.
Yeah.
And it was really difficult for me to be home by myself, trying to tend to the dogs, but like just complete solitude, it gets to you. It's
I was going to work, I was an auto technician. I was going to work when the sun was down and coming, when it was basically coming home at night when the sun was down.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
ready to go to bed and take a shower. He would go to the gym, come home, take a shower, go to bed. Like there wasn't, we had like no time for each other. And then on the weekends, like, we try to see friends. Like he wanted to go and see his friends. I don't have a lot of friends, so it's like I just wanted to spend time with him, but like he wanted to spend time, trying to be social and do all of that, which I get. And so it was just like, it was really stressful, but I finally broke down and I was like, look, I can't do this by myself. Like I can't do the dog stuff. I'm here alone. It's really hard. I need you to come home. So
she was like, quit your job.
Yeah. How do you do it?
Well, I did it. No, I did.
Yeah.
And like I have a strong like willpower, and I'm willing to adjust and adapt. And I'm really thankful she kind of like got me out of my comfort zone a little there.
It took me a while to adjust though, because
I went a whole year with doing like basically side gigs, just like, and I was
hustling.
I was just kind of for a little bit there though. Like I got pretty low, financially wise, and she was helping me out. And then I just really kicked it into gear and made some connections with some MDs, and started just a very lucrative business. And it was like, I remember when the very like first week, just to kind of put things in perspective, my very first week like working for them, I made a little over $4,000. So wasn't bad, starting out.
Dang.
I was gonna say 1 week, like hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on, there's more to that. So that was like his first actual week of working, because there was like a whole time period where he had to like recruit and like build
or maybe 8 months. There's 8 months where I was working for this guy, showing him what I can do, showing him my education and my ability to learn, and
his willingness to work.
And no one believed in me. I don't blame her for hardly like looking into it, because like the way I was like talking about this business, like what it's gonna be, like, it was very like
like very MLM-ish.
When I tell people like what I do nowadays, and kind of the money aspect, it's like words to proof.
Yeah,
because you don't make that kind of money hardly doing anything. And I was like, well, I kind of do.
Schemes. Like, when people are like, you see people in there.
Leilani. Sorry, guys.
But like the business, just for example, like it works, or one of those like cosmetic things where it's like, I sell makeup and look at me,
Yeah.
I'm living this lavish life, but like I'm selling makeup. And you look at those people, and it's like, and then they're trying to recruit you and get you to be part of their business. Like that's what it felt like to me at first, and I was like, I don't like this, because it literally like it just seems like a pyramid
It's like-
scheme, but it wasn't. It's not what it was.
You
And
see those young couples on Facebook, and they're like, "You too can be an entrepreneur. You just need to buy our book." And
Yeah.
Because I was like, these people are not entrepreneurs. Like, they're gonna try to make their money off of you. Like, they don't know anything.
That's a pyramid scheme. It's MLM, multi-level marketing scheme. Like, yeah, you're not really making money.
That's
I always
awesome.
wanted to like post one of those videos and be like, "Guess what? I actually am an entrepreneur." You don't have
You
to buy my book.
should.
just
You
need to work
should.
your ass off.
yeah, people ask us all the time, like, how are you able to travel? Like, how can you do this? And they're like, oh my God, like, to hear about the business. And they're like, oh my God, can we join? And we're like, not really.
It's not really how it works, right? Yeah, that's not how it works. And you guys you travel. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I have a lot of people that do try to join it. I've hired probably over 500 guys in the past 3 years or so, and I think we've kept
10.
maybe 10 around. Like, it is.
Like, we try to train people to do what he does, but it's so
There's still
much.
not a single person that actually does what I do.
And you have to be
still.
dedicated to more than just learning and regurgitating. Like, it's a lifestyle. So most
Yeah.
people aren't dedicated to that. But anyways.
What were you gonna say?
Well, yeah, I was going to say, like, it's clearly worked out because I feel like you guys, out of like all the people who I see on my Facebook, I mean, you guys are always traveling. You're always going on cool adventures. And I'm curious when we get into these questions, how that plays into your relationship, because you guys are not officially married, correct?
Right, yeah.
But you both wear custom made and beautiful designed rings for each other, right?
Right. So
Yeah.
we just decided on that note, like, we kind of made the commitment to one another. We don't need the government to tell us that it's okay to be in love and be together. We didn't need a big celebration or a big party with a whole bunch of people who we never see anyways to get together and make it official. It's like, we didn't need to spend all the money to do that. And I appreciate the fact that other people do. Like, I get it. It's a big deal. But for us, like, I love him no matter what we do. I mean, we do so many wonderful, beautiful things with our life every day that, it just, I didn't need to go get all dressed up and do all the crazy things. Like, I love him anyways. But we did buy the rings, and I was actually, like, really opposed to the rings for a really long time because I was like, I don't want to spend that much money on a rock.
They're so pretty, though.
Thank you. But then I started looking into them, and I was like, there's actually some that are, like, really cool. And we found some designers who made, it all started because I found somebody that made ash diamonds, like, with cremation. And so I was going to get one in memory of my dad, like, put the ash in the ring. But I started looking at them, and they were either ridiculously expensive or they looked, like, really bad. And so we just decided, like, we found the salt and pepper diamonds, and I started looking more into those. And we found somebody who could custom design, like, exactly what I wanted with the salt and pepper. And then his was, like, totally by accident. We went to a place in Portland, Oregon, and it was like a little vendor, like kind of a flea market type thing. And we looked all around.
It was all like handmade crafts type deal.
Yeah, and we had
Nice.
all the way around the market, and we were like, we didn't see anything that was too cool. But my brother was like, hey, you missed like a couple booths like back in this area, so go back there, and then if you don't see anything, we'll leave. And we weren't looking for rings specifically. We were just kind of looking at everything.
Having fun. Yeah.
And we walked back there, and there was this guy who had just a very few handmade rings. And we had seen one very similar to this one. It's very rugged.
It's got like 22 karat gold, like little nuggets all throughout it. Basically, I lift a lot. I was in the gym a lot, and I didn't want something like I do have like, some like nicer ones and whatnot that I just bought for the hell of it. But, I beat my stuff up, I'm kind of rough around the edges sometimes, and I didn't want her to buy something like really clean and nice and smooth, because like,
it would have gotten messed up.
it would, like.
My husband is the same way. He said the exact same thing. He was like, we can't buy anything super fancy because it's just going to get tore up.
He wore one of the silicone rings for a long time.
Well, I was, like I said, I was
Yeah.
an auto technician, and I didn't want my ring to like hit a battery or or something and light my whole arm up. Nope,
that wouldn't be good.
No.
But no, we found this one, and like we just so happened walked up there. The guy had this one, and it was like the exact like what we had been looking at.
It's very like Viking.
And it was in his size, and we were like, "This is it! Like this is this is supposed to be here."
I love it.
So we bought it, and that was that.
I love it. Well, I can't wait because I feel like you guys have been through a decent amount in the short span of your relationship. And you guys, like I said, seem to just like exude happiness and peace with each other. And that's kind of what we're all looking for. So are you guys ready to dive into the questions?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. First question. What is the most important skill to have in a marriage?
Personally, I would say communication, but I think really it ties back into, my understanding of, or our understanding of human psychology. I've always been a big fan of human psychology. I use it to my advantage in many different aspects of life, such as sales and business. But it's helped us tremendously in our relationship, so basically leads back to communication and maybe even, understanding the proper way to communicate with, your loved one.
And communication is a lot of different things too. It's not just verbal communication, but obviously, learning how to communicate what you're feeling instead of just holding it in. That, and I still have a problem with that. When I get angry, I just get really quiet. But I've
kind of taught her from early on, that just doesn't work.
Even so, I still struggle with that. When I get angry, I just get really quiet, and
I give her time.
He's learned I just need a little bit of time to think and kind of boil over, and then he'll come up to me and he's like, look, we gotta talk about it. What's bothering you? This isn't gonna get any better if you don't talk to me. So
that's right.
It's also, through your actions and learning how to appropriately love another person, because we all have, it's the love languages, and so everyone
has different communication ways.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to learn.
Yes, and so you have to learn how that other person is actually receiving love, because just because I like receiving little surprises, or I like receiving little gifts, or I like to cuddle, that does not mean that is what he likes. He actually doesn't like gifts at all. If I give him things, he's like, cool, what am I supposed to do with this? But so you have to learn how to communicate love in the way that person is actually going to receive the love. And that's been something that, it's that I haven't necessarily practiced with other people in my past, or that they haven't been able to reciprocate back to me. So I didn't, there was that issue, but I think we've done a decent job.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
It seems like it. That seems like to be an important one that a lot of people keep coming back to. And I think the reason a lot of people bring it up, because it's so not intuitive for us, to just, I don't know, for me, myself, I'm always assuming that people of course, if I do your laundry, this is an act of service for you. But for some people, they're just oh, thanks for doing my laundry, and it's
they don't see it.
You have to be okay, so doing your laundry isn't something that you consider loving. So I don't have to do your laundry. I can just cook you dinner, because that is something that you receive that way. And just learning that balance of how to not stress yourself out, and you're right, send and receive love, and communication. Ugh, it's so important.
Absolutely.
And learning.
Without communication, there's nothing.
And learning how the other person communicates.
Yes.
That's a huge one, because there's different ways to communicate. And like you said, I'm similar. When I get angry, I have to kind of step back and think about it, because my brain is going faster than my mouth. So it doesn't come out half the time. It makes sense.
Exactly.
So it's I need to go. And then a lot of the times I'm you know what? You just kind of made me mad, but give me 5 minutes and I'm over it. We don't even need,
Exactly.
I was just mad in the moment, and now I'm good. We don't, it's cool. We don't need to have this link. So that's the biggest thing, is really learning how.
Absolutely.
The other person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
I think a lot of people fail at that early on, and they just chalk it up as a bad match. And, sometimes it might be. Sometimes you're just all right, this just isn't going to work. But I feel a lot of times there may be a lot of spark there. It may be an amazing relationship, and they just don't give each other the time because it takes time and experience to learn that person. It's just going to take time. It's just how humans are. And if you don't give it, don't go through some of those issues, and you're not fixing them out, and you're not really giving it that time to learn and to evaluate the other person and fix it, you're just like, some people just cut it off too short. I'm like, man, that could have potentially been an amazing relationship if you could have got past that one little issue. And I don't know, I feel like that's where a lot of relationships fail.
Yeah. From my own past experience, I have to agree with you.
All right, question number 2.
Question 2. All right, so what is the worst habit to bring into a relationship?
I said, addictions,
Nailed it, actually.
I mean, that's a pretty bad one.
I might have to get rid of this question now, because I think that is the answer to that question. That is the worst habit to bring into a relationship.
When Jo first brought that up to me, she was reading the questions that we were gonna discuss. I literally without thinking, I was like, well, cheating. That was no one ever has said that yet, and that's probably a pretty bad habit to have if you're a cheater.
Yeah.
But that could be an addiction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that can go under addiction. I need to stop playing with the lip gloss. Sorry.
There's a lot of serious, I guess, habits that you could bring in. Which we talked about, or having preconceived thoughts of maybe a previous relationship, and acting
that negativity.
Yeah, bringing in that negative energy and whatnot.
Just thinking that somebody's going to treat you like you were treated in the past. Just because the past person cheated on you or treated you like a bag of garbage or whatever, that doesn't mean that this person is going to treat you that same way. And so bringing that mindset into a relationship is just it's horrible.
You can't blame people for other people's mistakes, as hard as it can be, because it's protecting yourself. It's how your brain makes sure you don't go down that road again. But
exactly.
You could be missing out on the perfect relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just because somebody treated me really bad in the past doesn't mean that he ever had the intention to. But it's you take your past and you learn from it, and you internalize it, and you look for those signs and signals, and you realize how to divert from that, or if it's getting to that level, either how to communicate through it and be like, hey, this can't happen. But you don't ever come at that person I know this happened to me before, and I know that you're gonna do it to me, because that's just wrong.
Yeah,
I mean, I think if everyone's
sorry guys, my dog's crying at the door. Let me go take it. Keep talking. Okay. I can hear you. Sorry, my life is just a freaking zoo.
They have 1,000 dogs. They understand.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
One of my puppies is actually crying in the garage right now, and there's a little Frenchie, and she's like, "Meow!" I'm like, oh god.
And she's just nothing but high energy breeds, that it's just she's so persistent. She's part Dalmatian, which no offense to people who love Dalmatians. Oh my gosh. I will never again. I can't. Anyway, not part
sorry Mason, you were saying, yeah.
Basically, I kind of wanted to go back around to with addiction, just for the viewers and whatnot. I don't want to say, just because maybe if you are dealing with addiction issues, that it's not a good time to be in a relationship. Because honestly, when she first met me, I was kind of getting past, some of my addiction issues, but I still wasn't I guess very, confident in my ability to fully get past them. And she, having that relationship with her, I strive to be better. And it actually led to a lot of self-growth, which actually really helped me just eliminate all addiction issues. And nowadays,
wow.
I set little goals for myself. It may be let's say I like coffee, right? Maybe yesterday I realized, man, I drank 3 coffees. That may not be a lot to a lot of people, but when I realized that I'm I don't even like getting in any habits at all. Nowadays I strive to get away from all habits, except going to the gym, except for positive habits. But
yeah. Those habitual behaviors that are really just coping mechanisms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty much I just try to handle them naturally now. It's the best of my ability. And I just don't like any little addiction. You know, some people are like, oh, well, I quit doing, you know, my drug of choice, but I still smoke cigarettes, you know, whatever it may be. Like, you need to start looking at that now and get rid of that, and get rid of this. And eventually, at one point, like, you get so confident in your ability to crush your goals and to get past, you know, addictions that, like, I mean, honestly, like, I've just gotten past every single addiction, like every single one, crushed it, got past it, you know, feel amazing.
Yay! That's amazing.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, I think anyone can do it. You just got to be honest with yourself and look at, like, your daily regimens, and you can do it. I mean, I don't know. That's what I did.
Definitely addicted to caffeine now, but I can't give that up as a new mom.
Oh man.
Not till little man is older.
No, I always, but like I drink, I can't drink coffee. I'm allergic to the coffee bean.
Yeah.
But so I drink a lot of green tea. So
Oh,
at least
that's good.
it's like a,
It's better
healthy.
caffeine. Yeah. Yeah.
Healthier.
No, definitely. That's good.
But yeah, no,
It's
I
better.
feel you. That addiction can get pretty bad. All right. You want to move to question 3?
Yeah.
Joe?
All right, question 3. So, how do you
Oh,
Uh-oh.
we
keep
lost
things
you.
intimate?
It froze. Hold on, what happened?
She asked, how do we keep things intimate? Is that right?
Yeah, how do you keep things intimate after years together?
So we talked about this earlier, and intimacy comes in a lot of different forms. It's not just sexual. It's
That's always
Just
what I
simply-
say. Always.
yes, and so obviously at first, there was that strong, very sexual attraction. But intimacy comes in many different forms and fashions, and it kind of evolves over time. And so one of the things that we talked about was the fact that, so first of all, obviously Mason and I, we work from our phones. We do not go off to jobs. We don't travel without each other. So we're literally together, not 24/7, but 23/7. Like we're always together.
I might go to the gym. And
So
that's my 1 hour.
yeah, so we just make sure that we do spend some time apart, making sure that we each individually do what makes us happy on our own. Like he goes to the gym, and while he's at the gym, I may sit at home and play Animal Crossing, or go for a walk, or whatever. Whatever it is that just it's for me and makes me happy, and then it gives us that time to refresh, come back to ourselves. And then whenever we actually do come back together, it's like he's been away for, so long. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I still get excited. I do the happy puppy dance, and it's like I hear him stuff. I'm like, Mason Tom,
Aww.
it's silly, but we make sure that we cut out time for our individual selves, but also for us together. We did things he's not really big into video games, but I like video games, so we'll take time and we'll find a game that we both like Skyrim, and we'll sit down and we'll play Skyrim together. And so we're both actively working towards goals, and we can accomplish them and be like, oh my god, this is so cool.
That's so cute.
And so it's not in the sense of sexual intimacy. It may not be like that, but it's intimate on another level, because it's these are things that both he and I can communicate about, and only he and I, know, and then it's just bonding on another level. So to answer the question, we just make sure that we do things that fulfill us individually, but also take time.
We work on certain goals together, I guess. I mean, personally, I guess it's kind of hard to pinpoint. Surprisingly, I'm usually pretty good with that kind of stuff, but things never really grew old with us. I mean, it's only been 4.5 years or so, but I don't know, things never really grew.
And being spontaneous, I think, has a lot to do with that. So the other day, I knew that I had to go out to Sevierville to go and pick up, I had to get incubators for puppies. But we just looked at each other, we're like, you want to go to Gatlinburg today? And he's like, well, we can't go right now because we have to clean out the truck. But if we get the truck cleaned out, we can go in the morning. So it was we didn't have a plan. It was I reserved the Airbnb on the way there. So
oh, yeah.
I love it.
That's
I love
awesome.
But just doing little things, if for people who do work, if you're both gonna have time off, even if it is just a day, go somewhere. Don't just stay in the house and clean. That's boring. Do that on your own time. But
He was talking to me right then.
Yeah.
house clean. Like, no, go somewhere. Take time to like do something, like pick a random state park and like go hiking. Take the dogs, take yourself. It doesn't matter. Just go somewhere. Get out of the house.
I mean, most of the time, believe it or not, like some of the fun things that we do, really, you don't have to have money to do a lot of this. You know, a lot of it, we might go there. There's like a rock quarry that we know about. You know, it's good for fishing. It's good for swimming. You know, and that's free. You know,
yeah,
free.
That's right.
So it doesn't have to be anything extravagant whatsoever. It could just be something unique to you two, and you're like, wow, you know, this is really cool.
Mm-hmm. That's we've got a friend who's going back into the dating world after ending an 8-year relationship, and that's what he was talking about earlier. He's like, well, I could always take her to dinner, like he's going to take this girl out to dinner, and then we're going to Dave & Buster's. And I was like, that's so, it's not like that it's necessarily, it's not impersonal necessarily, but it's money that you don't have to spend because you could take that person and do something adventurous and actually get to know them as a person and get them out of that comfort zone instead of just being like, oh, we have flashy lights and games in front of us.
Yeah. Because once that doesn't, you get people out of their comfort zone, you really get to see who they are.
Yeah, you get to know them. And like that's the other thing is like with movie dates, like we bought movie passes right before quarantine started. So we were doing like movie dates, and it was fun for us because like, you know, we've been together for so long, like we would make it a thing so we don't watch the movie and then talk about it afterwards. But for somebody that like you're just getting to know, taking them to a movie or something, like you're not getting to know.
You're not getting to know anything.
Yeah.
You're getting to know like what their thoughts on a movie were afterwards.
And honestly, their thoughts, they may make it very vague or broad because they don't want to potentially say something. And like humans, you know, we're going to potentially change the way we act or, you know, say certain things because like you want to make something work with this person. But like that's just not the way to do it. Like be yourself.
We don't pull our skeleton out of the closet on the first date.
No,
probably not.
No,
honestly, like, I'm the type
that's
of guy,
the third
like,
date. Just kidding.
The third date,
I do it very quickly. Like I've always been very open, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a little crazy. and if they're like,
the more authenticity we have in this world, the better.
Exactly.
I'm just very upfront. I'm like, if you just don't like it now, you're not gonna like
me
later.
now. Yeah, so let's not even go down this route. That's awesome.
You don't even bother with the hook and part. You're like, this is my bait. This is it.
This is it. Yeah. Take it or leave it.
No.
Yeah.
It's
been. I like it.
To waste.
I like it. So keep things spontaneous. Like cherish those times that you have with one another, and the intimacy just follows. I think that's what Chelsea said when we were talking about these questions. She was like, my husband was in the room when I had my baby, and that is more intimate than any situation I could ever be in my entire life. Like,
you gotta trust those people, because that's
absolutely. And then you have some very interesting moments whenever you're with somebody so much, or whenever they are your other half. Like they experience parts of you that nobody else ever gets to, and some of them are not so beautiful.
No. I always joked. I was like, whenever I have a baby, I'm gonna be like, husband, eyes up here. Trust me, you do not care. When you're in labor, you're like, get this out of me. And also like a quick funny story, and then we'll go to question 4, is that I delivered at this military hospital and on island. And so I went through their midwife program, and my midwife was like, hey, you know, we have a student who needs to get like certain amount of hours, whatever. Can she watch? And then she can't like actually do anything medically, but she can watch, like she needs that. Is that okay if she's in the room? And I was like, totally fine. Like I'm never gonna see this person ever again. Don't care.
Oh God.
She comes walking in, and I was like, hey. I was like, do you know X, Y, and Z? And she's like, yeah, our husbands work together. And I was like, is your husband in this unit? Do you guys know this person? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, I've met you multiple times. She lives right down the street from me. So I see her all the time.
Well, I mean, hey, at least, you know, they were there for the birth of your child, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we got intimate real quick.
That is so great.
I was like,
childbirth. I'm just saying, it's not something I want to experience. I'm good.
We're okay. We're
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's right.
We decided that kind of a day when we were like, at least not now and not for, a long
a while, yeah.
Not soon. That's
All
right.
right, question 4.
All right. Question 4. When do you know when to stand your ground or when to compromise?
So,
I guess I'll go. Stand your ground or compromise. I mean, me and Charlotte, we both try to be logical people. I'm extremely logical, and I look at every situation very honestly. And I'm like, if I'm in the wrong and there's clearly room to compromise, I will definitely do so. I'm
Okay.
very particular about, I'm really open. I'm not one of those guys. I can't be hard-headed. I can be extremely hard-headed. Oh, look at her. She's a
She's like, that's incorrect. And
but,
I'm calling you
I
out on
always
bullshit.
come back. I always look at myself and I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I can change that. And I will. I definitely will. And then I guess there's just certain times, when you have to stand your ground, it's like I explain things with logic to her that are so clear. She's like, okay, yeah, you're right.
So, but to be fair, we don't have a lot of disagreements.
Almost never,
we actually get along really well. So
Nowadays.
Now we did go through, at the very beginning of our relationship, we had some really rocky times. But it was just because we were both growing. We had both gone through some really rough things before meeting one another. And then coming into it, everything was, of course, we had the rainbows and butterflies moment. So everything was beautiful, and then all of a sudden we actually started to get to know each other more, and we're like, hey, okay, you have problems, I have problems, and we had to really learn to communicate through them. But ever since then, we really don't have that many issues. Our biggest issues, and this is not going to be a surprise, I like animals, and I like to have a lot of them. And
Wait, what?
yeah, right? I did not know this. Our biggest hurdle is the fact that I like to go to the exotic animal auctions, and we've just kind of made it a thing. I'm not allowed to go alone, and I'm definitely, when we walk in, unless we know that we're looking for something, I am not allowed to go.
Can't buy anything
because I will buy things, and I will sit there in the stands and I'm like, Mason, I need a kangaroo, and he's like, you do not need a kangaroo. What are you gonna do with it? I'm like, and then they'll bring out a baby zebu, and I'm like, Mason, I need the zebu. You don't need the zebu. And then there was the giraffe, and I was like, Mason, I need the giraffe. But then the giraffe was $65,000, and I was like,
I don't need the giraffe.
oh my, okay, so
I saw pictures of the bull.
Okay,
Dude,
so
let
this
me
is a
explain
good
this.
story. This is a great story for this particular scenario. So, yeah.
Basically, I'm like, Charlotte, don't buy anything. I have to run to town. I had to mail some things out real quick. And they were really important because I would just never leave her at an auction by herself. And so, yeah, I ran. It maybe took me an hour to get to town and to get it all done and get back. And I find her, and she's got the biggest smile on her face, and she's like, I bought a baby bull and 2 goats. And I'm just like, I didn't see them in front of me, and of course the bull wasn't with her.
Like, what?
And so I'm just like, no, she didn't.
And we're driving a Camry?
We're driving a little 4-door Camry, right? So Toyota Camry, right? So at the end of the auction, we were leaving, I was like, we really got to go. It was 10 o'clock at night. And so I'm like, where do I get this bull at, right? I have to get this bull in a Camry and 2 goats. So, the redneck auctioneers down there, they're like, oh, you got to go pick your bull up. You got to load it up in your trailer. And I was like, well, sir, I ain't got a trailer. She's like, you got to load it up in something. And so, I see this bull, in this, area.
He's baby.
I mean, he's still 100 and, he's probably close to 200 pounds, wasn't he? 185, 200 pounds. I mean, this is a bull. So I don't care if it's a couple months old, whatever. I don't care if it's a baby. It was a big bull, and if it kicked you, it could still kick your kneecaps out. So I ran I was like, oh God. And there's all these grown men around me, these farmers, these rednecks. And they're like, that's your bull. And so I was like, I guess I got to pick it up. And they're like, yep. and I like pinned this thing into the corner and like wrestled this bull into the ground and like picked it up, had to carry it like 150 feet, and like the whole time it's like kicking my stomach, trying to bite my shoulder, and I'm just like, this is the craziest thing ever. I finally throw it in the back of the Camry without like dying, get the 2 goats back there, and the best part was we made it home. I mean, with like, don't get me wrong, the whole entire back seat was filled with piss and poop, like filled.
How long was your commute?
I was afraid the whole time.
What?
How long did it take you from the auction to
2.5 hours.
To get home? Oh, yeah. It loaded up the seat. So I get home, and I'm, like, dead tired. I'm hungry, right?
I'd have been like, I'll Uber it.
Yeah. So, like, I was like, I got to get this bull back out of this car and into the yard. And I figured this probably was going to be a little bit simpler than getting it in. But no, as soon as I opened up the door, the thing looks at me, headbutts me, just jumps out the car, headbutts me into the freaking garden, busted my chin. You know, my teeth hit so hard together, I thought I cracked my teeth. And I'm like laying on the ground, like, what the hell just happened? This bull just jumped in my face. And so, like, the bull runs into the yard. And I'm just like, thank God. Like, okay, that's done. I think I handled that pretty well. And then
because he's like bleeding.
The best part of all of this is I went back the next day, and Mason went to Nashville with one of his friends. So I got to go back to the auction the next day. And
I went and got drunk.
Yeah, he went and had fun with his friends and left me to go to the auction all by myself. And then by the time the auction was over, I was like, hey, I'm headed home. And he's like, well, can you come and pick me up in Nashville? And I was like, no. And he was like, why? And I was like, because I bought 26 chickens.
In the Camry.
Why do you not have a truck?
We do now.
Well, like I've had multiple trucks. I've had quite a few.
Girl, I
but
think
every single time. What?
I was gonna say, I think she's not allowed to have a 4-door car anymore. Like, it needs to be like a truck and a trailer. That's it. That's all you get. That's your choices.
I mean, I got a nice truck now.
We're good now. Like, the whole point is like I should never be allowed to go. There is no compromising. Like, there is no talking sense into me. It's just like
but he totally just like got on board. Like he was like, all right, I guess we have a cow.
Well, it was
I
more
didn't
like
really have a chance.
Yeah. When it comes to things like that, the compromise is, well, like,
she bought a horse.
You have to deal with it now. So, like, unfortunately,
I think when you marry or life partner with a person like you and me, that's just a fact of life. There will be a lot of animals around.
So when we first got together,
I mean, nowadays she does a lot better, better.
But when we first got together, so we met. Our meeting story is really strange, but like, long story short, we met on Tinder and ended up finding out that we like knew each other through work. Like, we worked at Toyota together, and then he came over, and one of like the selling points, like, I didn't have a Tinder to like meet people. I had a Tinder because I was selling exotic animals. It's what I did. It's what I had. So like, on my Tinder, there was one picture of half of my face and my monkey Iro on my shoulder, and it was like, you know, talking about like, hey, you know, if you want exotic animals, like, get with me. Like, who needs a wingman when you could have a cool monkey? Blah blah blah. Whatever. Totally a terrible business plan. It was awful. Anyways, but he messaged me, and of course, I invited him over to pet my monkey. Haha.
That's what she said.
But at the time I was living with my mom, and he came over, and I had monkeys, and so he came over and was like hanging out with the monkeys or whatever. And my mom walked by the room, and my mom is a lawyer. And they met eyes, and he was like, hey, Georgia. And she was like, hey, Mason. And he looked at me, and he said, why is my lawyer at your house? So, like,
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, for real. But it was a good thing. My mom loves him, and he loves my mom, so it was okay. But anyway, so there was that. So from the day
her
one,
mom knew all of my dark secrets before she did.
It made things a lot easier.
It was weird to say the least.
But so from day one, like, he knew, like, I was into exotic animals, like, he already knew. But so I started looking for a house, and whenever I finally found the house, I just looked at him and I was like, look, I'm about to buy a lot of dogs, like, a lot. But I swear I'm not a hoarder. I just, you know, business.
She didn't tell me it was going to be $35.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Listen, be ready. I was gonna say your definition of a lot of dogs is different than my definition of a lot of dogs. But Hubs and I are looking at buying a house when this all passes, and I told him, I was like, that just means that we have room for more.
Exactly.
We're thinking about getting a raven.
A raven?
Yeah.
That is so cool. So actually, my roommate here wanted a crow. He wanted a pied crow, and if we had the facility, because like right now we're renting the house where we are right now so that we can sell our other house, but those birds are so intelligent that you have to have an aviary. You can't just have like
a full outdoor aviary. Yep.
Yes, and so I convinced him otherwise. I was like, you can't just keep it in your room. Like,
no,
we need an aviary for this thing.
So, and honestly, it should have access to the indoors. If you want your pet to be connected to you, they should honestly have an aviary outside that connects to an aviary inside.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey.
So we talked about that, and we were like, maybe not yet. But anyways,
we only have one more question left, and this is like the big one.
Okay.
How do you have a happy marriage? Because I feel like you guys seem to have a really happy, like,
yeah, you guys are like very healthy, happy relationship.
I think that we've kind of, we've gone over a lot of that in the other questions. We've really we listen to each other. We make sure that we cut out time to be, specifically with one another, but also have time specifically to take care of yourself. That's you do the things that are most important to you. Also, learning to love yourself is a huge thing, and I don't think that a lot of people do that. A lot of people look for a partner
they relied on it.
They look for a partner to fill a hole that's within themselves, and that's something. Before I got with him, I had taken a lot of time to just kind of get to know myself and fix myself. I had talked to a couple people here and there, but it's like I really wanted to love myself before I could love somebody else. And and even still, once we got together, like I said, we were still very broken in a lot of places, but we talked through them, and we became, we're growing every day. We grow as people. We still, we make small goals, not just relationship goals, but we continue to make small for future with a big picture.
Self-betterment goals, just in all aspects of life, really.
And then we try to have like a common goal for the future, and continue to have not just one common big goal, but like a couple common big goals. And then also individual big goals. So, like right now our big goal is that we want to have a family farm. We want to purchase a large piece of land to where we can build our house, but also we can have places where our friends or family, people that we care about, can also have little cabins or whatnot to where they can come and live, and we can have sort of like a self-sustaining homestead life. So for us, that's like big goal. But like right now, smaller goal, like we have to sell our house. Mm-hmm. We want to go to Florida, trying to like just like little goals. But I think that
we're always, we're always evolving. We're always doing something new. There's not a lot of monotony, in our lives. So it's, it's like I'm maybe looking, I'm always looking into new business ventures and, whatever it may be. So still to this day, I'm still constantly impressing her. It's not the same guy she's known for 4.5 years. I'm always
You're growing.
And so is she. She sets new goals, and I can see like actual things changing with her, so it's like it's somebody new, potentially, like I said, over the time span this happens, it could be a couple months, it could be over a year, but yeah, I think that really leads.
I think, obviously at the core you're the same person, but it's like you just try to keep things fresh, don't let things get stagnant. If you're feeling like it's stagnant, then think back. Like I always think back to the person that I met, that I first knew, the person that I loved, that I started loving. And, I'm just like, I want, when we went through harder times, like there were times when I felt like he was straying away from that person. I was like, or like when he was working so much that I felt like I was losing him. And that was a huge issue in our relationship, because he was starting a new business. And I was like, look, this is where communication came in, is because I felt like I was losing him to work. but he felt like he was working so that we could have a better future. And I was like, you have to find a balance because I need you. I understand that work needs you, but I need you. Why are you going to work your life away when you're literally going to work your life away? Like I'm going to.
She didn't understand for a long time what I was trying to do. Like I already had that in mind. You know, I had to build my business up to a certain point where I could hire assistants and to do my job, which I do now. And like that was my goal. So I mean, it was. I mean, imagine busting your ass 24/7 for the betterment of your future, and for over a year, your wife doesn't understand. Like you're thinking that the relationship that you're working for is about to end, but you can't just stop. You know, you can't just stop the business. And it was hard.
That was a debate that my husband and I can relate to a lot, because that was kind of how it was for Stan in a relationship as well, where he was just working and I didn't understand. I totally admit that now, that when he's working himself to death, and he knows he's working himself to death. He wasn't like an idiot, but he was doing it to like better our future, and then to have to like come home and deal with me frustrated. And so that's honestly when we decided to get a therapist, because it was like, something is not being communicated clearly here. And once we were able to communicate with the help, which we needed a therapist to help us, but once we were able to like understand where we were both coming from, I think it made it easier for both of us to like give a little bit.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that was where we were, is that I just like, I needed something from him that I wasn't getting, but he thought just by him working so hard that like that was going to be enough. And I was like, we have to find time for one another.
You know, some women, like previous relationships of mine, really respected that. They're like, you know, I want a hardworking man, and it is what it is. But you know,
and she was like, I just want the man.
Yeah, there's kind of to a certain extent.
Like that, but at the same time, like I had to learn to appreciate what he was doing, but he also had to learn to still give some of him to me, and I was fine. We had to find that good compromise and the good communication. And so now, I mean, things are much better now, but also, you know, he's evolved in his work. Like he's now got an assistant, which takes a lot of stress off of him, and it gives a lot more of him to me. Like just because we work from home or we work from our phones, like he was literally, I mean, I'm telling you, literally all hours of the day and night. Like he would sleep, and when he'd even wake up in the middle of the night and like check his phone, send messages, go back to sleep. He'd wake up, he'd be sending voice notes. And like I'd be trying to communicate with him, like, you know, just trying to talk to him about anything.
I wouldn't hear a word.
And we'd be sitting at dinner. and he'd be on his phone doing something. And I'm like, look, can you not take 30 minutes to just have dinner with me?
No.
Yeah. And he was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And so we finally, I broke down. I was like, we have got to compromise, because like I need you, even if it's only for like certain amounts of time. I need you. And, you know, I can't just be ignored. I understand, like, I had to understand that what he was doing was for the best for our future.
Yeah.
But I still hated playing. In my head, it was like playing second fiddle to work.
Yeah.
And even though in his mind, I was always first. It was just, he had to work to be able to give me everything that I needed. And, you know, to be able to get to this point where we are right now, he had to work. He had to bust his ass. He had to be the best in his business so that we could have what we have. And I appreciate that. And I did then too. I appreciated it then too. But it's like I needed him to be there, and it was very, very hard.
I started keeping her more involved, like, you know, especially for the viewers. Like I eventually started showing her what was happening with the business, like what progressive forward steps I was actually making. You know, I showed her, look, I'm actually am the number one, or I'm being promoted to this. So I wasn't just dragging her along every day. Oh, things change will change, or things will change. So, you know, just for the viewers, like if you're in that position and you don't trust your other loved one, and maybe they are just dragging you along. So, you know, that's why I started communicating with her, and I really was showing her, this is what I'm doing. This is my next goal. I'd reach it. You know, and I was like, I only have to do this much more, and then I'll be able to cut back. And guess what? I'd cut back, you know, because I reached that goal. And so it's like, and it was a lot more, you know, it was more understanding for her, and she was like, okay, yeah, no, I see. And so definitely if you're in that position, you know, talk with them, you know, be like, you are working a lot. you are doing some amazing things for our family financially, but are you actually going to cut back? Like, is that even an option?
When the time comes, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because like I was self-employed. I ran my own business, so I could do technically whatever I wanted. My sales were up to me. If you're working for somebody, like if your loved one has a boss, I mean, at the end of the day, their boss is gonna really run their life. Like, I don't care who you are, you're gonna listen to your boss, or you may lose your job.
But even so, you can still talk to the boss and be like, hey, like, things.
Yeah.
But and then at the same time, like the way that we really, also made things work with that was like we had specific roles for each of us where like he was making the money for the family. I made sure that like household things got done. But not just household things, but like I made sure that we had other activities that were planned. So like when we were traveling, he might be working, but I was planning the Airbnbs. I was planning like the course, I was planning the course for where we were going to go next. So that way, because we work from home or from our phones, I was making sure that if I had to be stuck with him working on his phone, that I was at a theme park or I was sitting on the beach, and that he was right there with me, and that way he could have his toes in the sand while he was working. And so it's like,
I like that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Compromise.
It was nice. Yeah. But I mean, obviously, like, I know that's not necessarily something that every person can do, but at least, you can both have roles in your relationship where if he's out there working, day in and day out, busting it to make sure that you have what you have, as the one who stays home or maybe doesn't work as much, you can appreciate him for that. But at the same time, like, be home, make sure the house is clean, make sure dinner's made, make sure, and a lot of people like downplay that. They're like, oh, that's, sexism or roles or whatever. And it's like, it's not like, it's
just work division.
Yeah. It's just work division. That's all
exactly.
it is.
Yeah. Like, if he's going to go to work and be so stressed out all day long, the best thing that he could come home to is somebody who cares about him, appreciates what he's done.
I didn't even have the extra stress just to like keep up with like paying bills or to keep track of the little things. Like my brain just did not have the room for it. So just her doing just this, what some people would think is little, like that was huge for me. Oh yeah, I do my laundry.
The little things add up.
It's that division of labor that I think is so important, and I think as women, because we have been taught like so much about like, be careful, don't fall into that role, I think there's like an element of like being scared of doing that work. Because sometimes it's like, it's not even about the gender of the person doing the work. It's like, no, right now we're focusing on this element of your career, and so I have a little extra time, so I'm going to do the extra labor, and then if things switch, it'll switch.
Yeah.
And to be fair, like I was gonna say, to be fair, like whenever he came home from Toyota, I was the one running the dog business, and I was busting it to make sure that the dog business was going. So there were days that I was stuck on my phone, hustling, doing this, doing that, or I had to travel and do this or that, and I needed help, and he would stand in to make sure that I was fed, that the laundry was done, that, that all of the little things that needed to get done got done. So it's not, like I said, it's not like a sexist thing. It's just a, pick up where the other person can't, because the other person, if they can't do it, it's generally because they're doing other things to make sure that this whole role, like this whole world of ours, continues to go forward. And it definitely takes a team, because I mean, I honestly don't know how people do it by themselves. Like, I
know, girl, those single moms out there.
I can't imagine single moms. My goodness, like I do.
Any single parents.
Yeah, any single parent. Single parents,
You're killing it.
Yeah, that's incredible.
It is. Well, we are almost at the end. So the one thing we like to do before we go is we like to do a little weekly win. We like to go around the room and we like to hear like one good thing that has happened that has been like a win for you guys for your week, so we can cheers to it. So what do you guys have?
Personally, I'd say for me, I recently started working with some new business connections in the PPP industry, hand sanitizer, gloves. So I'm currently trying to broker deals with some really big companies, and it's potentially really serious. I mean, one deal, you can make $500,000.
Whoa!
Within 1 week. So I mean, it's really, really big.
Hawaii trips for everybody. We're coming to visit you, Chelsea.
Yes, I was gonna say, if you guys are like looking for land and everything, Oahu is not the island for you to live on.
Okay.
I'll let you know that right now. I already was like thinking in my head, I was like, I don't know what they want to do on Hawaii, but I'm like, Kauai would be great if you want land.
Why?
But anyways.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I honestly don't think we could do our mini farm in Hawaii. Anyways, first of all, importing animals would be really difficult.
A nightmare.
Do you know how much?
laws there are-
Oh yeah. Do you know how much a carton of eggs is right now?
Oh, probably too much.
It's like $10.
A regular carton of eggs?
It's insane. It's insane. It's like $8, $10, something like that. It's insane.
Oh wow.
86 cents here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No need to brag about your cheap food right now.
Yeah.
Mail you eggs.
I'll make profit off of selling eggs.
It's insane.
What about you, Charlotte? What's your weekly win?
Oh, I don't know. Okay, so I found out that Florida theme parks are opening soon. So, we have all the passes. So I'm really excited about that. So that's a big win. I got a membership to the Y, so I'm going to start doing some like yoga.
That's awesome.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah, right. And then tonight we're going ghost hunting.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yes.
That'll be
We're
fun.
gonna summon spirits, so we're excited. It's gonna be a first, but we're
Don't
gonna
summon
some
anything
spirits out.
bad. Don't summon anything
Oh,
bad.
Yeah.
If we do, then
I'll put out some positive
You'll know.
energy.
Yeah.
get that
Just
or
sage.
whatever.
Sage
Sage
it.
it. Bring some sage. Yeah, sage.
You're right.
And document that shit, okay? That's all I gotta say. Document it so we can all see.
You know, I mean, if y'all on Snapchat, you already know. Like, I document life. Like,
Oh, okay. I'll find you.
Joe, what's your weekly win?
So my weekly win, these past 3 weeks have really just sucked for us in North Carolina because it has been raining and we have been stuck inside. We have had like nothing to do with the kids. My husband hasn't been able to train. Like it has just been a very monotonous long week. But this week we booked someone super amazing to come on the channel. There's a company in North Carolina called LePage & Associates, which is like a psychological practice. It's who we go see our therapist through, but we got Dr. LePage to come on.
Yeah.
I know.
We're gonna have some real conversations.
I am so excited. I can't believe that she's coming on. I can't believe that she was willing to do this. My therapist totally made it happen, so shout out to Dr. Cole. And yeah, we can't wait. And then also we have an adventure date. We've been doing this adventure dating book. And so our adventure date, we haven't been able to do many of them because of quarantine and everything's closed. But our adventure date tonight was that we were supposed to go somewhere and set up like an outdoor like movie theater. We can't go anywhere, but we're going to set up a movie theater on our patio. We've got like a little projector.
our neighbors have that. Our neighbors do that. They have a big
That's
projector
awesome.
and they have a hot tub and a big projector screen, and they do movies in their backyard while they sit in their hot tub. And
I would do that
love
every
that.
single night. I would do that
Every
time.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm never going to a movie theater ever again.
Who needs a movie theater when you got a hot tub?
Exactly.
All right, Chels, what's your weekly win?
So it hasn't happened yet, but positive vibes out there. Hopefully we will have our first successful family beach trip.
Woo!
We're praying. We're supposed to go later today, because it's only 10:40 in the morning here. So
Good morning.
yeah, it's still morning. But we're supposed to go to the beach today. So we'll see how my baby does.
He's gonna do great.
How little is baby?
He's 9 months, just turned 9 months.
Oh.
So it's just where he's like starting to get his own personality and like opinions and this and that. And so it'll be interesting to see, because they finally opened up the beaches to where you can sit on them now.
Oh, good.
You used to you had to either be in the water or you had to be like running or walking on the beach. You couldn't just sit. So
Interesting. Well,
we'll see.
yeah, fingers crossed.
So positive vibes.
Yes, very positive vibe.
It's gonna be great. You guys are gonna have so much fun.
All right. So cheers. Thank you guys so much.
Cheers to that, you guys.